Apologies if you hear any screaming, because that's the child in there.
I feel you, children. I have my dog. He was barking in the morning, but not anymore. Anyway, uh, hey everybody, welcome to Coffee with Impetus. This is episode 14. Today I'm very excited. We have Alex with Unilite with us. For those of you who don't know, Unilite is a company that does light and all other things. Probably Alex is going to explain more of that. But other than that, Alex, why don't you take the wheel and tell us who you are, what you do, and what Unilite is?
Yeah, so I'm Alex, the director over at Unilite. Unilite is a torch and flashlight business, and we've been slowly sort of spreading out into different markets recently. So automotive, detailing, sort of highway engineers, rail engineers, linesmen, builders, plumbers, electricians. The business was started back in 1981 by my mother and father, and then myself and my sister have sort of completely changed where we sort of sell products, who we sell to, what type of products we sell. And yeah, we sort of ended up in modern day where we are. The business last few years trebled in size, picking up distributors from all over the world now: Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Romania, America, Canada. So it's been pretty big growth the last few years. So I don't know what we're doing, but hopefully doing something right.
That's amazing. So you're saying Unilite was a family business to begin with?
Yeah, so the business was actually selling like tungsten and halogen lighting before, so not exactly what we're doing now. So when I probably entered the business maybe 12 years ago now, and we were selling to loads of different marketplaces, some of it leisure, some of it retail, and sort of came into the business and then sort of changed the direction of where we were trying to head. Basically, was we just aimed at industrial and heavy duty usage and stuff like that, and then just all the leisure sort of stuff we just completely stopped overnight. So
Have you been working with your parents ever since you were young, or is it just something you've taken on the last, few
I'll be
years?
I'll be honest with you, I've never worked with my parents because neither of them work in the business. So when I came into the business, my dad lives in Australia, so he sort of retired out of the business. My sister was sort of semi-running the business at the time, and then when I came in, we both took over the business. So I never actually got to work with either of my parents. My mother and father got divorced when I was
Oh
younger.
shit, really? So how did you
Yeah.
go from? So were you originally from Australia?
No, my father's Australian, but he lives over in Australia. But I'm from the UK, so my mother's from the UK as well.
Ah, I see. So what about Unilite? This name is kind of unique. So how did they come up with the name Unilite?
But I remember doing a podcast probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that I don't actually remember where the name came from. So I spoke with my father and he said, "Yeah, I'll tell you where the name came from." He told me the story and I was like, "That's pretty uncool where that name's come from." So it was there was a dairy farm, so cows, a dairy farm, and he used to see that it was called uni dairies, and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. I don't know why, and this is going to ruin the image of uni like now, but he looked at the word uni and thought, yeah, that sounds quite cool. And he kept seeing it on the side of their vans, these big dairy trucks and stuff like that. And he was like, that looks quite cool. So he decided to call it Unilite. I don't know why, but that's where he told me he got the name from. So I was like, Dad, why did you have to tell me that? Because when people ask, it's just not very cool. But
Hey, but
that's one
40
of the.
years later, it's something else,
I'm,
right?
I know, yeah, I'm going to go back to telling everybody I don't know where it's come from, but he sort of pinched half of the name from a dairy company, and then the other half was people spell light Light, so he thought he'd be cool and different and spell it Lite, and that's where we got Unilight from in the end. So
That was probably a pretty hip name back then.
yeah, yeah.
So how did you decide to start to go into the business? Is it just because it's a family business, or do you kind of have like a marketing or
Uh,
business background?
my background was music business, so I was working for Warner Music in London, and I lost my job in 2006. So I think just before the sort of financial crisis. So I lost my job. My father was sort of saying, "Look, why don't you come and work in the business? We need somebody to come in and do the sales of the business. Why don't you come into the business?" But I'd never really wanted to go into the business because I'd sort of seen my mother and father fall out from working together. So my sister worked there. I've got a good relationship with her. I didn't want to fall out with her. But I went and worked there temporary, and then 12 years later, I'm still there. So
So you're still temporary.
Yeah, well, anybody could be temporary right now, couldn't they? So who knows? Who
That's
knows? But
true.
yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I really enjoy my job. I get to meet different people, different industries. I'm sat here now talking to you from across the other side of the world.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to have those conversations and the people that I meet through what in essence is just a light.
Yeah.
But social media and stuff like that's been superb for us, and sort of spreading the message about what we're trying to achieve, or the products and stuff like that. So
I love that. Yeah, because I didn't find out you guys until I had social media as well. So,
yeah,
took me. It was actually this year that that I got to know Unilite. That from all the other posts that led us to you guys. So it has been a great tool. But other than that, let's talk about your brand out there. So, do you think there's another competitor out there for Unilite? And if there is, what differentiates you from the rest of them?
it's a tough one, because I don't look at any one company and think you're a competitor.
Yeah.
But every company could be your competitor, because you look at companies like Milwaukee, for example. They did tools for so many years. Now they do lights.
Oh yeah.
So anybody could be your competitor. But if I'm perfectly honest, there's like, maybe for flashlights it might be LED Lens or Olight or somebody like that. Or if it's for work lights, it could be Pelican, it could be Peli, it could be somebody like that. But we don't really have one main competitor, because
It's just like
nobody tends to do all the products that we do. So
yeah,
somebody might do a flashlight and a head torch, and then another company might just be purely flashlights.
yeah.
Whereas we do a work light, a detailing light, a UV gun. We do pen torches, head torches, flashlights. So I don't really see anybody sort of doing what we're doing, or
Yeah.
doing the range that we do. If that
So
makes any
so
sense.
more so we'd say what differentiates you guys is the fact that you guys are more specialized in all those kind of fields, not just one or two piece of equipment, whereas you
Yeah,
guys actually offer all the full lines, and all of these lines are specialized for specific trades.
yeah, yeah. So we'll say for like head torches, we'll probably do. You probably look on the website. There's more at the moment. We're stripping out the range, but we'll have like maybe 10 head torches, and that's it. Some other companies will do like Petzl, for example, which is the outdoor rope climbing and stuff like that. They'll do like 35 head torches, but they're all so similar, and it just confuses the customer. You want to go on and buy a head torch, Petzl one, you could spend 3 days analysing all the specification, and then still be like, well, which one do I use for this?
Yeah.
Where we sort of go, okay, we're going to do maybe 5, 10 products in that category maximum, but that each one isn't the same. They've all got different features. They've all got different levels of brightness. They've all got sort of different sort of things that they can do.
Yeah.
They become more specific to particular trades. So whether it's a plumber or a builder or a detailer, they become more specific to that particular trade, because they like that functionality, or they like that level of brightness.
Yeah, I like that. So how do you come up with the fact that these certain trades need these certain type of lights? So let's just say, for me as a trade, I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
Do you go out and do kind of control groups or testing with plumbers of what's in the field that bothers them, that you have to create a light specifically for their type of work?
I think that the main reason we've been more successful in the last few years is, say, you're on here, you post a video, you show which tools you're using, you show which tool bag you're using, you show how you then load it in your van, you show so many aspects of your work, that when I'm watching your videos, I can see, well, this needs to fit that. Like if you see everybody using a Vito Pro Pack tool bag, well, actually, I need to make that particular product fit in there. And then that particular product gets used on a boiler service, or that gets used on like fuse boards or under the floorboards or whatever it is. And that's what I'm watching all the time. And then I'm watching what products you are using that are lighting products. And then, sometimes I see you've got them in really awkward positions, and I'm thinking that would be so simple if you just change the head to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, I send products out to loads of different people, especially people whose pages on here that I've been following since I first started the page.
Yeah.
And that's more so because I want to know that they like our product. Not so much of please promote it for me. It's just I want to know that you like the product because I like your page. But those guys give me great feedback as well. Anybody that's won one in a competition comes through and gives us feedback, and that's in real time. And even with social media, if you don't like something about the product and you come through to me and say, look, I don't like this, it's good because I get to know firsthand that if I'm selling for a distributor, the customer comes in and goes, yeah, that's no good, that product. Yeah. But then the distributor won't say, well, what's wrong with it? And then ring me and say, look, they've said this.
That's true. You're doing field study strictly based upon direct contact through social media or just by watching.
Yeah. And because I run Unilite with my sister, when people come through on social media, they talk to me. So because I design the products, the buck stops with me. So it's sort of, they're talking to the person that's making the product for them. So everything that they... And I get some people who go, oh, can I just say this? I don't wish to upset you, blah, blah, blah. Just hit me with it. I don't get upset by it. It's just sometimes you make a product, people love it. Sometimes there's things that you need to change.
Yeah.
So as long as people are open and they give me the feedback, I'll always listen to the feedback, regardless of whether I think that's a bit of a rubbish idea.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You never know.
It makes sense. Well, I was surprised myself when I was talking to you. I didn't know you were the actual, the owner and director that was running that page. It surprised me that you were a little bit younger than I anticipated. Actually, how old are you, Alex?
37.
37. Okay, we're about 10 years apart, nine years, but I was still surprised. I was just, a lot of people don't run their pages as owners, right? They always have a marketing team or get somebody else to run it. What was that the difference of what you wanted to do to make sure that anything that came by in the social aspect that you'd get to get all that information up front?
Yeah. The problem with some of our competitors is they've got, like you say, somebody in marketing that's a marketing graduate. Sometimes they're not social media specific. Like I've self-taught myself social media, but all it is how I would talk to somebody face to face is how I talk to them online.
Yeah.
Now the main difference is when it gets to Sunday night, 10 p.m. here, people still message me and I still respond. Other businesses, they don't respond all weekend. But that's where I'm gaining my advantage. Is I'm accessible. We're an accessible company. People get to see. Even I post on our stories, which isn't very professional to some of the bigger brands, but I will post and let people know that a product's in stock or whatever it is, and people feel part of that because they can relate to me running the business.
It's
Whereas
true.
some of these bigger brands, they're missing a trick because they're not listening to their customer. I listen to the customer 24 hours a day. If you came through and said, look, bought this product, absolutely love it, but the magnet's rubbish.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas these other companies, that somebody will say that and they'll say, oh, please contact us via email. We don't read messages on Instagram. Like, what is that about?
I get you, dude. I totally understand that. I would say, I don't like talking about that company a lot, but let's just say Milwaukee, for example. I've had problems with products. You try to message them. They're the people that probably say, oh, please contact this, go to your local dealer, go to blah, blah, blah. But it's not like somebody that actually wants to care or, make a positive aspect, because all they listen to is their niche group of those influencers, let's just say. I don't hate on that. I think that's cool that you have influencers that are big and they do all the work all the time, but it's not, as you say, like you would answer to almost everybody that gives you that feedback. But Milwaukee is just or not just Milwaukee, but certain brands, they just take the feedback of people who they give the tools to all the time, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's not an issue, but like if you're on social, I mean, I remember reading one post from Milwaukee, which was about gloves. And everybody, they posted about these gloves. And everybody, these gloves break, they break, blah, 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 blah. Now, if that was me, I'd be having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Thinking, gee, my whole brand is getting destroyed in one post. But these guys, they just, okay, thanks for the feedback. Any problems, contact, John at blah, blah, blah. And it's just, you think to yourself, how can they be so blasé with their reputation? But because they're so big now, they don't
care. That's what I feel too, and that's why, like, I slowly gravitate from these certain brands. A good example I would always say is Rigid. They're huge.
Yeah.
but the Rigid team literally answers to everything that the viewers are talking about on the social presence as well. So
Yeah.
much like what you're doing, which actually in return, keeps the business and keeps the idea that the company's actually listening to what the consumers are looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you don't listen to your customer, you don't have a business. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And it's sort of, you know, even I've noticed the last few years because I'm listening to the. Say if you get a problem and it's on a forum, like I'm on all the forums, all the electrical forums. I'm all over there. So if anybody comes on and says this product's it's shit, I need a new product. I'll be like, okay, direct message me, and I'll send them a new product.
Yeah.
You have to head that off because otherwise, 5 or 6 people say it, 10 people say it, 20 people say it before you realise people aren't buying your stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But when you're a certain size and you do so many products, people will allow you to make one or two that aren't so great. But when you're, a small, medium-sized business, okay, we've grown a lot, but it's still people expect more from you
Yeah.
than they do of a multinational business.
Yeah. It's about keeping that name up there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like when we do our work, we make sure, we put out the top quality that we can. And,
Yeah.
that's no joke because when we do our rooms or any type of work, we don't leave until it's almost perfect, even if we have to spend our extra money or cash to make it look good.
Yeah. Well, it's your name at the end of the day. You'll never get any
Yeah,
more repeat business or new business if you don't do it to a high standard. That's
exactly.
why some people worry and they go,
Yeah,
oh, I've got no business. If you broke it down for them, you'd be like, well, that's why you don't have any business.
yeah. It's true. It's how you want to hold yourself in regard as well, right?
Yeah,
My company is what I am. So if I can't do that type of work out there, then I don't want my people to portray my company like that as well.
yeah. Yeah. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you are the same. So a lot of people here can know that Unilite actually cares about what people think, and that you guys are there for the ultimate product. And then speaking of ultimate product, that brings us to the next question of how you like to do all these rigorous testings on your products.
Yeah,
And lately, from what I've seen, the most intense one that you guys been doing was launching your light into space.
yeah.
So tell me a bit about that. Like, what was the thought process behind this, and why do you really want to send it to space?
The thing is with all of the products is loads of companies will show you how tough the products are. They'll drive over them like we've done with a tank, or they'll drop them from a huge building or something like that. So for me, I have to do something where it's not so much destroying the product because I know that 99% of the time the product's going to survive. So we have to show people something a bit unique. Where sending a product into space, that thing has -60 degree temperature, which we don't test to that level. But obviously, showing somebody that the light stays on for the duration, it can survive that type of temperature and the low pressure, because as everybody knows, lithium batteries, they hate variances in temperature. If they get too cold or too hot too quick, Samsung found out the hard way with lithium batteries is that they explode. They don't like variances in temperature or pressure. So it's trying to show people that we'll take it to what people think, but we're going to take it that one step further than even we test for, just to prove to people. And people say, well, why send it to space? Well, why not? It's pretty cool. The footage,
Why?
the footage,
Why not?
the footage was great. And if Elon can send a car with a little spaceman into space, why can't we send product to space? But it's something where I'm trying every time to better what we've done, just to show people that you can do anything with these products. Yeah, okay, they break sometimes, but 99% of the time they'll survive. And I want people to know that when they buy one of the products, that's what they're buying into.
Yeah. I like that. I like that because from what I remember back in the day when I was buying lights before all these companies start doing all these lights, I bought a light. I forgot what brand it was, but they were boasting the fact that you can run over it with a car, beat the crap out of it, and it still stay really good. Um,
Yeah,
and I think it was because I threw the shit out of that flashlight, but the only problem that came with it afterwards was the fact that no the plastic scratches. So then
yeah,
sooner or later the light starts dulling out because of the surface of the light.
Yeah.
that film gets all scratched up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the if you've got a glass lens, you run the risk of it breaking. So somebody has to change the glass lens. But then if you have a plastic or a perspex or some sort of polymer or whatever, then you run the risk of when it gets scratched, it eventually dulls out unless you can interchange the lens, which isn't always possible on particular items. So it's quite difficult to get that balance right. I try and design stuff so if the lens is face down, it's got like some sort of ridge, so it's not getting straight from the floor. Sometimes you drop it on stones or
Yeah.
some sort of brick or something like that. We're not immune to that ourselves, but I try all the time to have some sort of protection over the lens.
Yeah, that makes sense. So other than space though, what's the next rigorous testing that you're thinking of putting your light through that you can share?
It involves a helicopter,
Okay.
and it involves like a target on the floor. So
Okay.
big target on the floor. So a helicopter and a target, but I'm not going to give any more away. But it involves a helicopter.
When you do those tests, are you gonna be there as well? Like, are you gonna be like, oh, the one that's inside the helicopter or the one that's down there?
I'm going to try to be the one who's in there doing stuff with the products. But it's great for me because I love doing stuff like that. I enjoy that side of things. Talking to people and meeting these people that put this stuff on in the background, like the guys from the space video. They are some talented people. Having to work out everything to get it to go up, where it comes down, having to talk with the aviation authority to actually say, look, we're launching this thing, like some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes for that. And in that
Yeah.
short 3-minute video, you don't get to see much of that. So that's why I put some of that in there, because those guys, some of the planning that goes into that.
It's probably like what 2-3 weeks of work to even just get that light up there.
I'd probably say 4 weeks of work.
Wow.
Because they test it maybe 3 or 4 times, like dummy testing and modular testing on the computer and stuff like that.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
How's that light right now? Is that light back down here?
Yeah, still works. Still came back. It was up there for about 3 hours, so it didn't fully go out because then obviously we wouldn't be able to get it back. But it was pretty much to the edge, and then came back down, and then it was on for 3 hours. The light stayed on. Still works now.
Do you put it in its own space and just call it the space light?
But to be fair, we'll probably test it with the helicopter on the next one.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a exciting one. It just means
we
that it
always
can be through all those kind of testing altogether.
Yeah. So if something survives from the previous video, I tend to take it on to the next one, and then try to break it again. So we've got loads of ideas, like stuff like when obviously coronavirus has gone, potentially coming over to the US and getting a couple of monster trucks and stuff like that. So stuff where it's you guys over that sort of way. I've got some big heavy duty stuff that we can come and test it with, which would be good to come over and I can come and meet some of you guys as well.
That'll be sweet. So actually, now that you speaking of coronavirus, I know a lot of people ask these questions, but I'm curious myself as a company of your size and how Unilite is. How did this kind of pandemic affect you guys?
If I'm honest, not a lot. In terms of our sales in the UK, because everybody's been shut, they've suffered. But I'll be honest with you, because we export all around the world, when one place was closed, another place had reopened.
Bravo.
So we've been very, again, touch wood, we've been super lucky. All the staff have been fantastic, and we've just been going. And we had our record June month, the same in April. So
That's amazing.
This is during a pandemic. So I mean, if we didn't have that, and we had a record year last year, then I know that we'd be even further.
Wow.
Far. So touch wood. I don't know what I keep doing. I'll do the Hail Marys and all that sort of stuff. But
No, that's amazing. I mean, you're doing something right when you take the business over and it does so well and you're tripling and beating all your records every year. So kudos to you. But let's talk about some other newer stuff. You spilled the beans a little bit on Instagram how you and Velocity, correct, are doing something in the collabs. What can you share about that? Is that kind of like a special bag with a light on it, or is it like their bags with um, that can carry your lights, or is it a bag with a bunch of lights in there, just like how
It,
we
it's a
had?
bit of both. It's a bit of both. So
Okay.
we're basically we're high vising something as well. So that's us, that's our colours. But we've got a few surprises in store with those guys. So it's sort of again, I look at a marketplace and I think, well, some of these people that have been in that marketplace, they've been doing the same thing for however many years. There's no difference. They change the colour, they change the size, they change the shape. They don't add anything. They're not
Yeah.
they're not reinventing the wheel. And I've been looking at so many industries like safety glasses, gloves, all that type of stuff, and people aren't doing anything new. With the safety glasses, I'm working on two lights that go on the side of some safety glasses now. That you take them off and you stick them in a case and they charge like Apple AirPods.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing, actually.
So eventually you'll be able to use those on the side there, clip onto your cap, put them onto your gloves on the front. I've got loads of stuff like that. But anything where we can put a light into and make it better through a light, then that's the route to market for us to moving into these different industries. But there's so many people. Again, I'll go back to coronavirus. When the coronavirus hits, a lot of companies go, right, no more marketing, no more ad spend. Let's chop staff. Let's get rid. Let's get rid. Let's get rid. Now, what we do is we have a big war chest that we save. Like nobody prints in colour in the office. Little things like that. We save and we save and we save. So when there is a recession or a pandemic or something like that, we spend our way out of it. So you'll probably notice we've got maybe 20 new products coming this year.
Oh yeah.
Most companies go, I'm not spending any money on R&D. I'm not spending any money on new products. And you'll notice a lot of even the bigger tool companies, their launches will be scaled back.
Yeah.
Because I think now's not the time. People won't have the excess money. You have to go, and this is why I talk to you, is somebody might be watching this and then goes on and buys one of our products.
Yeah.
And that's what these companies should be doing, is thinking every opportunity I get is when all these other companies go, no, 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 you should be saying yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because people want something new, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeah. People are still looking for new things, regardless.
Yeah.
You're right. Because I do know a lot of companies do have their things pulled back, and sadly enough, some of the other events that are happening, like Rigid Experience, or even for other people like Milwaukee NPS, a lot of those have been canceled through, so the events are canceled. But for us, everybody sitting at home, you're right. People want to see what's new, and you've made the next step where there's not too much distribution problems going on where we have to buy from suppliers or wholesalers. And
Yeah.
when people do want it, you have the e-commerce to do so, because we can go right to your website and actually just buy a freaking light. There's
Yeah.
no boundaries between that.
That's. I mean, part of the reason that we've done it like that is because I've had distributors in the US, in Canada in years before, and they just expect that we get the orders and then pass them over to them. And I'm like, no, if you want to take on the brand, you have to. Nobody's going to just come and order from you.
Yeah.
I'm doing all this work on Instagram with working with different people and stuff like that, and having these conversations with you guys. I'm not doing that so somebody else can just go, yeah, I'll take the money.
And then give you that commission just so you hold stock, right?
So it's just for me, the whole way everything operates at the moment is going to slowly shift. And again, I drive a Tesla, and the way that they've created what they've created, and the direct to consumer model where you can go online and buy a car off a website without going to a dealership. 5 years from now, nobody will be going to a dealership to buy a car. They might go there to test drive one, but they're not going to go there to buy it. They'll just buy the car like you go on to buy tools from Rigid. You just buy it online and it turns up.
Yeah. Make the process easy.
All car dealerships are going to go. So eventually, if you don't evolve, you end up dying as a business. Your customer tells that you guys tell me what you want all the time, and if I don't give it to you, you'll find somebody else that does.
Yeah. So how many locations does Unilite actually have right now?
So we've got a few people who work for us out in Hong Kong, some in Shanghai, and then head office HQ, which is in the UK. So for us, we're very nimble as a business. I could hire a lot more staff. Everybody will tell you in the office we should hire more staff because everybody's super tired or, oh God, so stressed out, there's so much work. But actually, I know if I hire more people, the people in the office actually become more lazy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to work everybody to death, but just know where everybody's tolerance is. And if you start having too many people trying to do the same job, everything gets lost in translation. There's no communication internally, and then before you realise it, you're making mistakes or you're not listening to your customer. So I try and keep the team sort of like smaller knit, but like a tighter group of people if I can. And everybody knows everybody's business in the office and all that sort of stuff. So it's more of a, I don't know, like a family.
Yeah, that makes sense. How many people are all together, you'd say? Like, do you have in Unilite?
There's 20 in the UK, maybe 5 or 6 in HK, and then about the same in Shanghai.
Okay.
But the aim is probably to set up a full office out in China to help with, sort of any issues that we get out there, because it's difficult with a 8-hour time gap. Obviously, I'm up at 4 o'clock every day, trying to talk to.
Is there that difficulty at the same time with the language barrier?
No. I mean, anybody who says, oh, that person's English isn't very good, should try then to speak that person's native language and then tell me that their English isn't very good. I'm very much like that. Like anybody that says, oh, and technology now, you just get on an app and I can talk into it.
That's
and
true.
Have a discussion. So it's like anybody that says, oh, yeah, I can't understand them or I can't talk to them or makes an excuse about it, bullshit.
Yeah. That's all excuses.
And, I can't thank the people that I work with enough out there. They're great people. They help us. And we're very, very lucky that we've got that relationship with the people that we work with. Any ideas that I have, they're all over it.
Yeah,
they're all over it.
What's your plan next? Do you plan on coming to North America fully, or like have a branch here, or anything?
There's a tool sort of subscription service called Tool Crate.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen those guys.
Yeah.
They put one of our products into their last Tool Crate, which went out to, I think it was about 400 units or something like that, went out to 400 subscriptions. And they said the feedback that they got off the Lite, which was absolutely amazing. They said everybody loved it, everybody commented how good it was. So they're now due to take over distribution in Canada and North America. So, fingers crossed, those guys are super enthusiastic. I think we'll have a different scenario with them to how it was before with some of the other distributors. But if it takes off, then who knows? We open an office stateside, and maybe we go from there. Especially now we're launching like different categories. We've got some hard cases coming, which are similar-ish to Pelican. We've got some other bits and pieces working on some gloves, safety glasses. There's loads of different things that we're working on. So if the plan works and the plan gets executed, then we may well have an office over there and doing more exhibitions and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, there is a tool subscription called Tool Crate. I've seen it myself, actually. They do have a lot of nice tools that go into there. And I honestly think that, if you're an apprentice or anybody starting off, this thing is amazing because it can actually show you a lot of products that you might be missing out on.
Yeah.
But lastly, I do have the last question of you of the day, which I've shown you a picture before, so I'm going to show the viewers over here. So this was probably back in 2013. That picture I sent you, like, what can you tell me about this picture? Were you working with Unilite when this happened?
Yeah, that
you
was
probably were, right?
So when I first joined the business, we had products that were in like blue, they were in green, we had like silver, different types of silver, black. We had there was no sort of coherent branding. And the one thing that I kept noticing when I was driving around in cars was everybody had like the high visibility jackets on the back shelf in the car. And I was thinking, safety, high vis, and we ummed and ahed for ages. There was a discussion between myself, my father and my sister, many arguments about, do we put them in these colours? I said, look, I keep seeing these colours everywhere. Everywhere I go, I can see these colours. And before, people never used to want to wear those colours. They felt a bit of a dickhead wearing those colours.
Yeah.
And then as it became standard, and health and safety became a big issue because people were dying on building sites and stuff like that, more and more people now they take pride in having the correct gear on. So that picture actually stems from the first ever sort of photo shoot of the new products in those colours, and we debated for 3-4 months whether it should be black with yellow switches or yellow with a black switch. Eventually, that's the colours that we came out with. So that particular picture was taken by a guy called Darren, he used to take some pictures for the business many, many years ago. But it's the first sort of trial of me trying to portray that I wanted stuff to be tough. Yeah, looks like it's on a scaffolding sort of system with a couple of products, hard hats, all that type of stuff. So trying to bring the safety thing out in the picture, which I look back on some of these pictures now and I'm like,
oh, it brings back good memories, though. I think it's awesome that you guys have posted ever since 2013. So it's so documented that when you come back to that process, you can see where you guys grew from that point.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Back at that point, I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. I still didn't probably until maybe a year and a half ago, and I still don't know everything now. But it's got to a point where the formula that we've got and the way that we sort of interact with people, and I've realised I have to post regularly on a certain time, certain days, all that sort of stuff. Insta stories now, Reels, which is moving over from TikTok, all this sort of stuff. You have to take advantage of it. Yeah.
So this light and all this high-vis stuff, do you still have it at the office?
I'll be honest with you. I'll have to take a photo, but we've got like an area in the office which is up on like a mezzanine floor, and we keep all the old samples. I've got samples from 1991. I've got samples from like 1987, and I've got even other companies which don't exist anymore. I've got their old products, and the reason that I keep all of this stuff is that occasionally I go back through it all, or I open a few boxes and I have a little look, and I go, I could do something with that now because the technology's changed. Back then, the design of something wasn't good because it was just a filament bulb or a halogen bulb or krypton bulb or something like that, and you couldn't adapt it. Whereas now with an LED and the technology and the materials, you can redesign something and actually put a new spin on it, and people go, wow, I haven't seen anything like it. Well, you have. It was Back to the Future in 1988 or whatever it was.
Just didn't have the technology to make it better back then.
Yeah. So we have got, thousands of samples. Being the company that we are, we get loads of suppliers from all over the world: India, Pakistan, Vietnam, Thailand, China, all sending us samples saying, look, please buy this. This is what we can do. Please buy this. But I just keep them. I don't know why. I always find actually, even if the plastic's rubbish or the aluminium falls apart, there might be one part on there where I go, I could take that or I could adapt that. And that's how we come to do some of the stuff that we do in the end.
That makes sense. No, it gives you all the ideas, and you can always look back into it. You should take a picture of that room. Actually, I'm very curious to see what that room looks like.
I'm trying to clear it out at the moment, if I'm honest, because we're about to expand again. So I'll take some pictures of the office and stuff for you. But we're about to expand through to have more office space, and then a studio where we're about to start doing podcasts, video casts, shooting product unboxings and all that sort of stuff. So we're actually going to build a studio inside the office, so literally members of staff can be on their computer and go, okay, the new products arrived, okay, we'll take it in there, we'll film it, we'll do the unboxing, all that sort of stuff, and it gets done instantly. So there's no I've got to send it off to a videographer, he then takes it, and 3 weeks later you've lost the momentum. Everything's instant.
Everything's hot off the press, as they say.
Yeah, and if I'm interviewing people on like a podcast, on a show with a video and doing something similar to you, and I get people that are respected in the industry and they talk about their job, and if they use our products, what do you like about it, other brands that they use, people then aren't just listening to something about a torch, they're listening to someone they admire and how they work within the industry. So it's not always about, for me, it's great to sell a torch, but I'm interested personally in some of these people that use our products.
Yeah.
You know, like I watch all the videos, stuff that you put on there, stuff that anybody puts on there, and if I like the content, you know, it doesn't matter whether somebody's got 2 followers or 100,000. You know, if you like what somebody's doing, you know you're going to watch it and keep watching it.
Makes sense. No, I'm excited for my lights coming in still. Those were new.
Yeah. There's
The 175s.
There's a lot more coming as well. The 175 is for plumbers is it's a hit. That thing, it's a hit.
I'll definitely try. Yeah, because I saw PB using it as well.
Yeah. He makes me laugh because whenever we have a new product, especially the smaller, more everyday carry style, Pete's all over them. As soon as he sees that, he's like, shh, and he has them for himself. But he's great because he won't talk to me about it for 3-4 months, and then he'll say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
Wow.
You know, he's not always posting it, going, look at this. You know, he uses it and then tells me what he does or he doesn't like about it, which, you know, again, that's invaluable for me.
Yeah, well, Pete is some real shit. I can tell you that. Yeah. Pete is awesome.
There's some people's work. I mean, you probably the same when you look at it. I mean, there's another guy called Tony from the UK called Unequaled Heating.
Yeah.
And some of his pipe work, it's like you're in like a cathedral in Milan, and you're looking at this pipe work, and I'm like, how does somebody even get that level of like precision and everything is just.
It's beautiful.
Unbelievable. Even I've got no idea really what I'm looking at. I'm just like, wow, look at that. You know, that
is like beautiful.
But it is, you know, people say to you, how can you say pipe work's beautiful? But to plumbers, you know, if I can get like 50% of the enthusiasm for somebody's work is what you might get 90,
yeah.
You know, then that's helping me to design a product. And I'm looking at people that are like, you know, it's art. That stuff is art. When you put something in an install and you stand back and you go, that's art.
Yeah.
However anybody says it to you, you've been artistic. That's your personality coming through in your work.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just like how you make your lights is your personality coming through because, you know, it's all your studying, it's all the processes, all your own research and development, and then you and the team together creating something that everybody wants to use.
Yeah. I mean, Pete, you'll watch his work, and his work's phenomenal as well. There's certain people on here where I'll sit back and I'm just, you know, half the time I don't even know what they've done, but it just looks amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But then you always get the keyboard warrior that says, you've left the valve down or something on the one side. You always get that.
It's always like that. There's always those people with the negativity because they just want to bring people down.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the issue there, but you know, there's always that one person that wants to feel better about himself because, you know, you get all the attention, but then he all of a sudden, obviously he doesn't have the attention because he's not the one that's posting, and he's usually the keyboard warriors are usually the guys who are like 3 or 4 posts, and then somehow they say they know about the world, and then you're a shitty plumber.
Yeah. Well, Pete gets a lot of that. To be fair to him, he gets a lot of that. But I'll just say to him, if you're good at what you do, then people always want to tell you that you're not, type of thing. So
yeah, no, it makes sense.
Even I get that. I mean, all I do is sell torches. I don't know how I managed to get some hate as well, but maybe it's the beard or the English accent. You know. You know.
Yeah, you always find a guy that won't like you out there. You know, if you can be the most likable guy out there, I don't think it's even possible.
Yeah. There's always somebody. Appreciate you having me on and having a chat about this stuff. It's always nice to talk about what we're doing.
No, I appreciate it as well. I mean, we're coming close to the end of the show, so just want to, if you have anything to say or let the audience know, anything you want to advertise coming out, just please go ahead. And for everybody that doesn't know, his Instagram is on probably the left of me or the right of me. It's Unilite UK. Yeah, literally right under him. Alex Inslee, director of Unilite. If you need to find him, you can find him on Unilite UK on Instagram. Anything else you want to say, Alex?
Or on Twitter, Facebook, any social media. It's me that runs all the social. So if anybody wants to ask me about a product or when stuff's coming out or any sort of new stuff, they want to see some of the new stuff as well. You know, I always tease little bits out to certain people I know who are going to love a product. I'll always drop out a few shots of some new stuff. So if anybody's interested in that stuff, and just if anybody supported us, all I want to say is a big thank you from myself and the people in the office as well.
100%. And if you guys didn't know, I did say that this week, or probably the next week after this show, I will be doing giveaway myself with Unilite, and we'll be offering a light to, one of the followers. Anybody tuning in here will probably will get extra entries, but other than that, everybody else will be on the page for the entries, which we will be giving some light out and some of our swag out. So keep in touch with that and keep watch. So other than that, thanks again, Alex, for being with Coffee of Impetus today. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.